Poison Ivy issue 18, G. Willow Wilson writing with Luna Vecchio on
Hmm.
the art. What are you?
Yeah.
I
So
was going to ask you what you're rating that. Is if we're just
yeah.
skipping the review. Oh, on you go,
Wow.
Matt. On you go.
Yeah. So this is continuing from the last issue that left us with Croc, Ivy, and Solomon Grundy fighting the mushroom zombies that are invading Gotham, and her and Croc end up fighting them off. Grundy gets some, he helps out, but after they beat them, Grundy goes to go off, saying, he died on a Sunday, and Ivy has to, appeal to him that, hey, look, this is your swamp, right? If they keep coming, they're going to destroy the swamp as well, and you in that. And she says, being on both sides of this thing, being kind of an anti-hero but also a villain, she understands on how to talk to them, and that you either have to appeal to their selfishness, or to um, what does she say? I have to pull this up now because it was a really good line from G. Willow Wilson, and why this book works as well as it does. Because the fact that she's talking about Grundy in this way, that he's this mindless, kind of this mindless, not force of nature, but he can be pointed into a direction. Um, is that, oh, that's what she says, is that you have to appeal to the selfishness or their highly developed survival instincts. And so that's end up what she ends up doing by convincing him, like, they're coming to your swamp, and that it's going to do you better to help us than to just go back and pop up the next time. And also, I think it's just, she feels like if the zombies get into Grundy, it could become a problem. So her and Croc go back to the little makeshift lab in the swamp shack, and Grundy is almost standing guard. Um, and they start making more of the antidote because they're using Croc's blood because he's immune to all of this. Um, and Pam starts to have a breakdown because she realizes that the scale that they need, they're going to need help. Uh, and she doesn't want to ask for help from the one person that can. And of course, that's Batman. So she goes into Robinson Park and just kind of waits around. He drops down, and what's nice here is, like, this just, it doesn't feel like the Batman that we're used to reading, right? Where we're getting Bruce and Batman. This is just the sheer Batman. It's the persona that he puts on. And so when he pops down, he takes up like the full panel. He's like larger than life, and they give him black speech bubbles that make him stand out from everybody else. Because Pam's are green, um, Grundys are like grayish, and Crocs are regular. So it definitely gives everybody a bit more character. Um, and Batman tells her, if you're here, I'm assuming you want something. She cues him into everything that's been going on. And he's like, look, this is the last thing I need right now. However, it's always the same with you, is you try to solve a problem by creating a bigger problem. No matter how often you fail, you just keep doing the same things, and that's bad science. And Pam takes that, as a personal slight and goes to leave. But he's like, look, you came all the way here. Give me that antidote. I'll do what I can. So he ends up leaving, and as she's standing there, her stomach starts to rumble again, like she's having the cramps and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, are they doing like a pregnancy thing? Like, is the green in the virus and stuff like going to give birth to something new? Because on the cover, there's a very Cronenbergian body horror of this tree like hand coming to her stomach, and she looks pregnant, right? And it says morning sickness, but spelled like you're mourning a dead person instead of the beginning of the day. Um, so she starts sweating. She's like, is this like a tumor? I don't know what it is. So she ends up going back to the shack, working on more of the antidote with Croc. Janet from HR comes through, brings donuts for them, which Croc is now. He didn't want to let her in, but he's like, well, if you're bringing donuts, so he grabs one, eats it, holds out his hand again. She goes, I already gave you one. He goes, it's for Grundy. She goes, I don't have any more. And so there was a nice little comedy beat in there. And just to know that Killer Croc likes donuts is, humanizes him a little bit.
A lot of office workers in DC these days. You talk about HR, we got accountants in Shazam.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on right now.
Yeah, a lot of this. So she asked Janet for help, but Janet's like, look, I'm good at like typing. I'm not good at the science. Like, that's not why I was hired originally. And she's like, look, I just need you here for your support. Like, just stand here and be here for me. And then she collapses. The pain's coming in waves. Croc runs in from the other room. He grabs her. Ivy's eyes are rolling in the back, and it sounds like a gigantic crack, like she's being split into two, which makes the entire swamp go quiet. Right. So Grundy's sitting on the ladder that goes up from the swamp to the deck. All these animals fly out, and Ivy is just writhing in pain. Her stomach splits open, and it goes to her narration where she says, nothing ever returns in the same form. It adapts, it evolves. And then you hear, you see Janet crying. Croc looks like shocked. There's blood everywhere. And Grundy pops in with Born on a Monday. And there's this husk of a figure coming out of Pam's stomach with like antlers. And it's Jason Woodrue, the Floronic Man, and her Pam's dialogue boxes go from green to like this reddish, like it's almost like bleeding out from green to red. It says the green sends it back to the world stronger than it was before, because death is never the end. And it's Woodrue saying, like, you thought you could devour me, but I'm the Floronic Man, I'm life itself, and now I'm here to devour the world. And yeah, was not expecting a whole dark birth of Woodrue to come out of this. And now I look at that cover, and that wooden hand that's over is definitely, meant to be him. So they were, tipping their hand, for lack of a better term, here at the beginning. And it's just another solid issue from Wilson. The Vecchio art in this issue is not as strong as the last. There's a lot of weird proportions from Pam in the scenes where it's just her talking, or like her facial proportions are just a little bit off. But it's still a solid. The art's still solid. It's just not as crisp as it was. But yeah, still a great story that's going. Looking forward to seeing how much longer it's going to go, because I feel like we're in the end game now. We've gotten rid of Floronic Man. We've gotten rid of the mushrooms to cycle back around, and it just feels like that's the type of story that Wilson's telling. That things come in waves, especially when it comes to Ivy. But yeah, so gonna rate this issue, and I'll give it a 7.5.